So I just want to show you how to throw a lidded pot. So there's a couple different ways to do this. Here's a lid that has a gallery, but it doesn't have a shelf to sit on. So that's one look that you can get, but the lid is always going to overlap the piece a little bit. Here's another example. It's not a great example. The lid doesn't fit perfectly. But here's a lid that has a little shelf for your lid to sit on. So I'm going to show you how to make the shelf and how to make the gallery so you can pick and choose which style of lid you like. So we'll put it to the side. So the first thing that you need is a larger piece of clay for the body of the piece or the base. Pre-wedged, pre-ready to go. I'm just going to slam that onto the wheel. I'm not going to talk about how to center and how to do all of the basics of wheel throwing. I'm just going to throw the body of the piece, and then as I start making the shelf, I'll talk about that. So again, centering your clay. Once you have the clay opened, slow it down to very, very slow, barely moving, almost stopped, and begin lifting. Continue lifting until your walls reach the desired thickness that you want. Depending on the size of your piece, bigger pieces will require thicker walls. This is a fairly small piece. So about 5, 6, 7 millimeters would be good thickness, 1/4 of an inch. For this lidded pot, if you're making a shelf on the base on the body of the pot, you need to have thicker walls at the rim, the top of the pot. So make sure that you don't open up so much that you don't have enough clay to build the shelf. I'm just going to play with the shape of this just a little bit. I want it to come in at the top, so I'm going to be compressing the clay in at the top a little bit. That will also give me a thicker rim. Before I bring the clay together at the top, I cleaned out the water on the inside. So holding it like dental floss at 3 o'clock, just cut off the rim, and that gets rid of that wobble. So I have a nice flat rim to work with. So once you have a nice flat thick rim, you can start making the shelf. To do that, I use this wooden rib tool, and I'm going to use the bottom corner to split apart the rim. So just right in the center, I'm going to press in with the corner of the rib tool. And then once I do that, I'm going to start bending the center part towards the center of the pot. just to flatten out that shelf. There we go. And that's done. My last step, my last couple steps. I'm not super fond of these pottery throwing lines, so I'm gonna use the metal rib and just smooth those out. And then my last step is to clean off that excess clay at the bottom. So for that I'll need a wooden stick tool. Hold on nice and tight, a little bit faster than throwing speed. And there we go, that's a good base. So cut your piece off of the wheel, nice and flat, straight cut along the bottom. And then with clean, dry hands, you'll pick up the pot off the wheel and transfer it to a board. The board should have a paper towel with your name on it so that you don't forget whose piece is whose, and I know whose is whose, and it doesn't get thrown away. So here's my board, the paper towel, and my name on it. With clean, dry hands, just transfer the piece onto the board. The next part will be making the lid. It's okay to leave that little slab of clay on there. And I realized I took a little bit too much clay here for the lid, so just take a little off. To make the lid, you need two measurements. So you'll need the outside measurement of your pot. Let me do this. So you'll need this outside measurement of your pot where it's going to sit on the shelf. So you'll use the caliper tool just to measure that outside dimension there. And that'll be the size that you make your clay slab on the wheel. Your second measurement will be the inside, the opening. So just on here you'll need to measure that inside opening, and that's how wide you'll make your gallery on the wheel. So first I'm going to set it to my outside opening because that's where I'll need to center my clay to, that width. Well, there we go. So just start centering. So I might leave it there, even though it's a bit wide. So next step is still opening, except you're not going to open as deep as you would normally. You just want to go down maybe about 1 centimeter. That's about it. And then pull straight towards me, and again, you don't want to pull out as far as you normally would either, because you need to make that gallery. So again, I'm just going to compress that, prevent any S-cracking. And there we go. I'm going to slow the wheel down a little bit, and now I'm going to start to make that gallery. So again, using the the wooden rib tool, just the corner piece here, I'm going to use that to split the edge of the lid and start to get that gallery piece in the middle. So I'm just compressing and lifting. If you find the gallery piece is a little bit thick or getting a little tall, you can use your pin tool, or probably a little better of a method, wire cutter, and just trim off the extra height. So now I want to check my measurements again. So here's the outside measurement of the lid. So this distance matches this distance. So when I bring it over here, it is just slightly wider, which is perfect because then I can trim it down if need be. The next measurement I'm going to check is the inside measurement. So that gallery needs to be able to fit inside. And the gallery is a little narrow. I could widen it out a little bit, and I might do that just so the lid doesn't move around inside there. So I just opened up a little bit and widened that gallery. And that's perfect. So that's all you need to do for the lid at this stage. The rest of the lid will be done at the trimming stage. So with your sponge, just clean it up, get it looking all good. And you don't even have to trim it off of the wheel. One trick you could do though, just to make trimming a little easier, is go in with your thumb right at the base and just press in. And that will make trimming a little easier for you when you start to trim. And then cut it off the wheel. Just straight across, clean dry hand, and transfer that lid onto the same board that you're using for the base. And that's it, finished product, until we start trimming. So wait 3-4 days, make sure that this is wrapped in plastic and put away to dry slowly.